fucking hate wires. Wireless?
Wireless.
In this video, I'm going to take a look at the RODELink Filmmaker Kit, which is a wireless lavalier microphone setup, perfect for people shooting directly into a DSLR or other cinema cameras. In this video, I'm going to review it, walk through how to set it up, and give you my thoughts on it. So let's get started with opening the box. So in the box, you have stickers, and on this side, you can see it opens up for the two different pieces here, the receiver and the transmitter. Let's go ahead and get those out. Now the transmitter here has a little belt clip, pretty nice. The receiver here has a clip as well as a cold shoe mount. So you can see pretty decent size, not too big, but one of the complaints I've seen a lot of people make is that they are a little bit bigger for when you're putting them on talent. But what they don't have is that little antenna that you get from one of the Sennheiser G3 kits. So the antenna is actually built into these, so you don't have that flimsy piece moving around. Also in the box, we have a little baggie here. Let's open this up. This is probably going to have the little dead cat thing in case you're filming in a really windy environment. Other attachments, cables and things. That's the microphone, it looks like. More attachments to attach the microphone to things. And this is the little piece that screws onto the transmitter. So what's nice is this microphone actually locks in by screwing down this little metal piece here. And then it's locked on and it won't accidentally become unplugged. So also in here you have another cold shoe adapter. You have some of that stuff they don't let you eat. You have a little guide. Then you have the cable to connect the receiver to your recorder, whether that's a camera with a 3.5mm jack, or you can get the XLR attachment that I'll talk about a little bit later. You can use this cable to plug the receiver into wherever is recording the audio. Then you have more stuff you can't eat, and that's everything in the box. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward for what you get in the box with this thing. So let's talk about the features of this thing, this RODELink Filmmaker Kit. First up, it has one-touch pairing. The pairing on this thing is really fast. You can go up to 8 if you need that many channels, that many different devices. And what's cool is your set of 8 won't interfere with someone else's set of 8. So if you're in an urban location and other people are using these things, this won't interfere with another group of 8. Also, it'll change between frequencies while still being synced on their Rode channel. So you don't have to play around with individual frequencies like you might have to do with a Sennheiser G2 kit. Rode's website claims 328 feet for the range, which is about the length of a football field, about 100 yards or 100 meters roughly. And I haven't tested anything beyond that to see the results, but up to that range has worked pretty well for me. Hidden in the battery compartment of these is the 3 different gain settings, both in the transmitter and in the receiver. So you can bump from 0 to 10 to 20 dB in both of them. That way you can lower your microphone recording settings on your camera or your audio recorder, which I'll show you a little bit about later. And then the last 2 things about these that I really like are these belt clips, which just make it really easy to clip onto your talent, or on the receiver end, you can put this on an audio bag or something if you're running and gunning and you can clip it onto yourself. Or both of these can use a 3/8 inch cold shoe adapter. So you can attach this to the top of a camera or to something else that has this kind of thread on it, like a light stand. Okay, now let's set these things up. They can be battery powered by AA's or by USB. And what's nice is on the receiver unit, you can see the battery levels of both the transmitter and the receiver. To pair them, press the red pair button on the receiver, then select the channel you want to use, and then press the red pair button on the transmitter. Now, if you're only using one of these, you won't really have to use this red button because once they're paired up, they'll be ready to go just by turning them on. To get your levels set properly, you'll want to adjust the transmitter first. You can go 0, 10, or 20 dBs. Next, you would want to adjust the receiver. the RODELink receiver on top of your camera or in your audio bag. So now let's plug this thing into the actual camera. So I have it mounted here on the top using this hot shoe, cold shoe adapter on the Mark III here. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the camera, turn on the receiver here. And while that boots, you can see it's plugged into the mic jack here. Now I'm going to turn on the transmitter. Now that's on, wait for it to sync a little bit. And now you can already see down here that there are waveforms happening on the microphone. Let me go ahead and put it on a shirt. And now I wouldn't normally clip it like this. I would try to hide it a little bit, but you can see already that we're having audio levels coming through. So let me go ahead and hit record here. What you want to do when you are recording is you want to bring down your DSLR level as far as you can and boost it within these. So boost these to 20 dB if you have to, and turn down your preamp volume level on your camera. So let's do that right now. So I'm gonna stop recording. I'm gonna go menu. I'm gonna try to do this upside down. Let's see, let's get to sound recording. And you can see I have it set to manual, and the microphone that's showing up here is this wireless lav that I have on right now. And I always record in manual whenever I can. So you don't want to be in automatic because your volume levels will be changing all over the place. So let's keep it in manual, but then let's go ahead and instead of bringing it up, because this is all backwards and upside down for me as I'm filming, let's bring it way down. And so you can see now that I'm not even peaking at 12 yet, but if I open up this transmitter here, you can see that that's because this is at 0 dBs. So if I bump this all the way to 20 dBs, you can see now I'm actually hitting at a pretty decent level, almost too high. So I can keep going down further. And then when I'm talking here, I'm a little bit between 12 and 0, peaking at around 6. That's not too bad, and maybe even lower. And then that's probably the level that I'll want. Go ahead and click select. And now when I'm talking, this is actually getting boosted by 20 dBs. This is not boosting it at all. This is still at 0. But if I needed more boost, I could boost this by 20 dBs and turn the camera down even further. Next, you'll have to actually monitor these in your audio recorder or in the camera that you're using. You can't plug a headphone jack into these and monitor them that way. But that's fine with me because I want to monitor where I'm actually recording the sound, not some step in between the way to the final product. Muting is fairly straightforward too. You can press the mute button on the receiver, or you can press the power button on the transmitter for a second, or you can even lock it so the mute won't be pressed by the transmitter or the talent by holding down on the mute button for 2 seconds. Then the mute lock turns on and the transmitter can't mute the signal. And then if you want to record to multiple locations, since there is only this one cable that can go out, what I would do is I would run this into a recorder and then run the recorder into my camera, and then I would have 2 copies. That would be the only way to really get 2 versions of this audio, would be to run it into a recorder, record that, and then run it into another thing that would record. This thing comes stock with a couple accessories. It has a dead cat piece if you're going to be recording out where it's really windy. Put this on instead of this standard default option here. But other than that, there's not really many other accessories that you get. You just get this one clip style that you thread the microphone through, and it just kind of sits like that. So if you want to attach it any other way, I would recommend that you get the Invisalav, which actually puts the microphone underneath someone's clothes. So you push it against your skin, you put the microphone in there, and it kind of has double stick tape on both sides of it to hold it in place. Also, if you're going to want to be using this to plug into a mobile device like an iPhone to Periscope, you just need the SC4 from Rode. This thing will make your plug go from the standard microphone input into one that works with a smartphone microphone. Also, this thing can basically transmit any kind of microphone that has a 3.5 millimeter plug on it. So you can use something like the Rode VideoMic Pro or even some other brand microphone that has a 3.5 millimeter plug, and then that just goes directly into the transmitter, and you can basically use whatever kind of microphone you want if you have a very specific use that you want this to be wireless. So an example of this would be, I could set this thing up on a boom pole and attach this and wirelessly have it just somewhere random, or make it so my audio engineer could wander around and I could wirelessly pick up the signal. Another couple options from Rode that make this thing a little bit more versatile, let's say if you wanted to put this into an XLR input, is they have a cable that can actually go from this plug to XLR. They call it the VXLR. And so check that out from Rode. It's pretty cheap. I think it's like 10 bucks. And so you can actually have more control if you're plugging into an XLR device typically. And another example of how this thing is versatile is Rode has an HS1-B, which is actually a wireless headset microphone that you can plug into this system. And you might look like you're selling a ShamWow, or maybe you're a member of a boy band on stage, but that kind of microphone will usually give you a better sound than something clipped to a shirt, and is just a little bit easier for your talent to walk around on a stage with. Now let's compare this microphone to some of the other microphones I use often. So first up, onboard on the C100 Mark II. Not very good. I'm in a sound dampened room, but just the sheer fact that that microphone is far away from me makes it not sound very good. Now let's switch over to the RODELink. The RODELink is much closer to me, it should sound much better. The noise level shouldn't be too high because I do have it boosted by 20 dBs on the transmitter. So recording into my Tascam DR100 Mark II, I'm getting pretty decent levels, somewhere around -20, so I could even boost it a little bit more on the receiver end. Now let's switch over to the NTG3, which is right above me here. This is a $700 microphone versus a $400 wireless set, and you can sound the difference. You can hear the difference just because this is a shotgun microphone. It has a very specific purpose of capturing the sound right here really well, and this thing is locked down on a stand and it's not going anywhere. So if I turn my head and start to talk, it's going to sound way different. Now if we switch to the wireless lav here and I turn my head and talk, you're going to have constant sound, versus with the shotgun mic, if I turn over here and talk, it's going to sound way different. So this might be a reason why you want to go with a lavalier versus shotgun, but that's probably for another video.
So basically going wireless affords you certain possibilities that you don't normally have. For instance, you can do a wide angle shot and you don't have to have the complexity of dubbing over at the end of it. If this were in closer, we'd be doing a boom mic shot or something like that, or we'd have to dub my voice over later in post-production. But now we can do a nice wide angle shot. I can do something like play horseshoes at the end of the day, and we're good to go.
Now, if you're looking to get this RODELink kit, you're probably looking at other wireless options too. Stuff like the Sennheiser G3 series or any other kind of set from another microphone company. But I really like how simple this set is. It's really easy to set up. Yes, this stuff is plasticky and maybe it's a little bulkier, but it's because the antenna is inside of it and you don't have it sticking out. And this thing's just really easy to use. It's really versatile because you can plug in other kinds of microphones like a VideoMic Pro, or plug it into a smartphone with the SC4. It's just really nice and easy to use. So maybe just rent each of them and see how easy this is compared to a Sennheiser G3. And you're really not going to need more than 8 microphones for most productions. And if you are, you're going to be using more advanced equipment anyway. So this is the perfect thing for someone that just needs 1 or 2 wireless mics, as well as if you need a whole stage of people that are mic'd up and you want the ability to run this into an audio board. Some final thoughts. The batteries are supposed to last about 7 hours if you're using regular alkaline batteries, or if you're using better lithium batteries, they say it can go anywhere from 16 to 35 hours. So basically a full day, and if you forget to turn it off, your batteries will probably be dead no matter what. Myself and other reviewers have found that you can get a little bit better range out of these things if the transmitter's not behind someone, but actually in front of them. Even if it's still hidden, that line of sight really helps, as well as the orientation and making sure that the receiver is pointed in the correct direction. That also helps with range to help you get that 100 meters, that 100 yards that you need if you're doing a longer shot. I love how quick these are to set up. The pairing is really nice. The fact that you don't have to pick an exact frequency and test a bunch of different ones, that it actually does that itself is a huge plus. Yeah, they're a little bit bigger, maybe they're not metal, but these things are solid and you're not really gonna have any issues with them breaking, I don't think. So that wraps up this review. Loving this wireless kit compared to some of the other ones that I've used. And if you wanna find out anything more about any of these accessories I mentioned, there are links to them below this video if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on iTunes or elsewhere, go to DIYvideoguide.com/TV19. That'll take you directly to a page with links to all of these things, like the VideoMic Pro or like this inexpensive SC4 that'll help you plug this into your smartphone if you're gonna be doing periscopes or just recording via your phone. So DIYvideoguide.com/TV19 or in the description below. Check these things out, and thanks so much for watching. Cheers.